you going? Good, good. Very good job. All right. Yeah, that's it. Nice work. All right, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. You guys did good with that. No one's hurting, no one's bleeding. That's a good sign. All right, so here we are at our Heart Smart Nutrition Workshop, and got a great program for you guys tonight. I promise you, you're gonna leave with your cup full. And I've been looking forward to going through a lot of this with all you guys. And I've been doing this for a long time, and you know, I can tell when you get it and when we still need a little bit of work. So if you've been to this workshop before, good. Now you're going to be able to take inventory and kind of like, you know, that spiral staircase. Every time you go around, you get to see it from a different angle. And you'll see how much progress you've made, and you'll see what you need to work on. So thank you for being here. Raise your hand if this is your first time tonight at a workshop. Excellent. Everybody give the guests a round of applause. Good. How about, raise your hand if you've been to five or more workshops. Keep your hand up if you've been to 10 or more workshops. Keep your hand if you've been up to 15 or 20 or more workshops. Keep your hand up if you've been to 30 or more, 50 or more. Well, turn around. Keep your hands up. Turn around. Yeah, 50 or more, 100 or more. Deborah's got the, okay, so anyway, so why do I do that? Just to show you guys that we've been doing this for a long time. Once you come to a workshop, it's like a Pringles potato chip. You just can't stop coming. You always learn, you always grow, you always get a little bit more, and every workshop is different. Don't let the titles throw you. Even if it's the same title, you're still going to get something different. I'm always shaking it up, adding new stuff. And since our last Heart Smart workshop in October, there's been new developments and new research that's been emerged. And I'm going to bring you up to date with that tonight. So, as they say, let the good times roll. And next month we have energizing nutrition. Raise your hand if you'd like to have about 20 or 30% more energy. All right, that's an easy one. Just dial that into your calendar, Thursday, March 17th. Same place, same time.
That's a religious holiday.
Yeah, if you're Irish. But no sin in coming here and being a good student. And then, so just remember, with every workshop that you come to, it's kind of like, you remember Subway, they had those, you get a certain number of punch the ticket and then you get a free sandwich. Well, we do something similar here, where you keep track of your workshops with the workshop card. If they validate it and you come to 6 or more, then you get a discount on your maintenance plan. And so just keep track of all your workshops. Make sure you have it validated, that little card. I want to tell you guys about a special event. This is the 3rd or 4th time that I've done this in the last 15 years. It's a special event for the kids, and it's a Health, Safety, and Environmental Awareness Day. And what we do is a lot of parents like to make sure that they have a record, a fingerprint record for, you know, children, and, you know, with missing children and things like that. There's a database that goes out federally, and we bring the kids out there, and they all get fingerprinted. They get the search ID cards. There's a police car there. There's a fire engine. They get to explore the fire truck, and they learn about, you know, crime prevention, drug awareness, and environmental awareness. And there's lots of freebies and giveaways and raffles and face painting and balloons, and it's a blast. It's like a carnival for kids, but the theme is health and safety. So if you have children or grandchildren, this is going to be a week from this Saturday, next Saturday, the 27th. I invite you and encourage you to come out. It's at Plantation Baptist Church. How many of you guys have been to the lights over there at Plantation Baptist? Anybody been over there to the lights? They have one of the best light displays. And anyway, it's going to be over there from 11 to 2 next Saturday, or the 27th, a week from this Saturday. So you have a flyer there. If you need more flyers, it's a phenomenal day. Again, I really encourage you guys to get this word out to families, participate, because it really is a blessing. It's a lot of fun, and you know, we're making an impression for generations to come, and that's what it's all about. So that's what that flyer is there, and let's get right into the meat and potatoes. As far as the core 4 goes, function, fitness, nutrition, and education. Let's start working above atlas. The atlas is the top bone in the spine. So you know what a subluxation is, when the bone shifts out of alignment, right? and it creates an interference. Well, guess what? There can actually be subluxation above the spine in your brain. And your brain will get scrambled by listening to people who are under the influence of profit and greed. And I'm not going to point the finger and say that your doctors are bad people, but I will say that many of them have been buying into junk science. What is junk science? Studies that are published by drug manufacturers or pharmaceutical companies that financially support the study. Okay, you got the message?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much what a lot of our heart health recommendations, where that's come from in conventional medicine. And heart disease it's a big deal, and everybody needs to be working on heart health, whether it runs in your family or not. You should literally live every day like as if you're trying to prevent a heart attack, because you never know when it could happen. So I want you to listen to this one cardiologist, how he puts it.
Disease. It's projected that 1 out of every 4 people in the United States will die from it. And more younger people are being diagnosed every day. We find out more in today's Health Matters. Age is only a number. That's how the old saying goes. And when it comes to heart disease, that's a fact.
You know, this past month saw individual 27 with cardiovascular pain and blockage. And we see it in 90-year-olds.
As a cardiologist, Dr. Edward Palang warns heart disease can strike anyone at any stage of life, no matter how active they are.
Just because I'm 40 and I'm playing tennis and I'm active doesn't mean I can't have a cardiovascular problem.
While heart disease is often thought of as an older person's problem, Dr. Palang says young people need to be especially on guard.
There's a lot of denial. Not gonna
happen to me. And if you're taking cholesterol medication or blood pressure medication and you're under the assumption that all of the levels are under control, what you're going to learn by the end of today is none of that means anything. You could still have a heart attack, because heart attacks, heart failure, and heart disease aren't caused by cholesterol, high cholesterol, or high blood pressure as much as it is inflammation. And that's why they're seeing it in 20-year-olds. You know, kids sometimes in their single digits have heart attacks. It's all about inflammation, and so we're going to show you exactly, how to reduce that risk. Debunking the cholesterol myths. Okay, so jury, as you guys are today, I'm going to plead my case to you. There's 3 points that I'm going to make, and as I spit them out, you're going to sit there in disbelief with your head spinning, saying, "No way, doesn't make sense. It's contrary to everything my doctor ever told me. I don't understand." Well, I'm going to make my points, and then I'm going to share with you the research that's been published in medical journals, the same journals that medical doctors should be reading as they prescribe these medications to you or whoever that may be. So the first myth that we're going to debunk is there is zero correlation with high cholesterol and heart disease. There is zero evidence, zero research that shows that the higher your cholesterol, the more at risk you are for having a heart disease. And I'm going to go through that with you. Cholesterol medications actually increase your risk of heart failure. What? That's right. If you're on cholesterol medications, you're more at risk for a heart attack than somebody who's got a cholesterol level that's probably 100 points higher than you. Lowering your cholesterol levels with medications, with supplements. If you intentionally try to lower what you perceive or believe to be an abnormally high cholesterol level, okay, if you're trying to bring your cholesterol level down, and your body has it up there for a reason, you're increasing your risk of what? Cancer, Alzheimer's, and early death, among other things. Okay, so what you're going to learn today is that cholesterol is not bad. Cholesterol in and of itself, it actually performs important functions, neurologically speaking. And I'm going to bring you to an understanding and awareness of how everything works in your body so that you can make sense and be comfortable with a lot of the issues that you may have to make decisions with. Journal of the American Medical Association in 1994 published a study. There was a trial. They compared adults with high cholesterol to a group with normal cholesterol, right? Over the course of 4 years, they had 1,000 participants at Yale University. Not a rinky-dink study, not a rinky-dink university. And I can assure you that this was an independent research study that was done, not funded by a drug company. 1,000 participants in there. They tracked for hospitalizations, heart attacks, the death rate from heart disease. And what they found was there was what? No difference between the two groups. People with low cholesterol had just as many heart attacks and incidents as people with the high cholesterol. You see that? New England Journal of Medicine, 2005. They found that the patients with the low HSCRP, what's HSCRP? That's in your blood work. When you see HSCRP, that's your inflammatory markers. They found that the people who had the low inflammatory markers had less incidence of heart attacks and heart disease, regardless of what their cholesterol was, versus the people with the high markers. Okay, so no matter what their LDL or their bad quote-unquote cholesterol level was, they had more heart attacks if their HSCRP was elevated, regardless of their LDL cholesterol level. So in essence, what this study concluded was that the risk of heart disease is not determined by cholesterol level, it's determined by what? Inflammation, how inflamed your body is. So I'll have patients say to me every other week, you know, I'm really concerned about my cholesterol, my doctor's concerned about my cholesterol, what can I do to get it down? And my answer is, whoever said high cholesterol was a problem. It's not the cholesterol that you have to be worried about. You can have a 300 cholesterol, 400 cholesterol level, total cholesterol level, and if you have no inflammation in your body, you are not at risk for a heart attack. And again, this is medical research. Statins can actually cause heart disease. Let's talk about that. Again, an independent study outside of the US, out of Japan. They collected a wealth of information on cholesterol and statins from more than 20 published papers. They found overwhelming evidence that the drugs actually accelerate, cholesterol drugs accelerate the hardening of the arteries and cause or worsen heart failure. So this doctor said, I cannot find any evidence to support people taking statins and patients who are on them should what? Should stop. Now, ethically, I always tell you, I'll never tell you to stop taking your prescription drugs. That's between you and your medical doctor. But I will tell you, if you have any, like it's one thing if you're diabetic and you stop taking your medication, and your sugar goes through the roof, or your blood pressure, if you have blood pressure meds and your blood pressure goes, but with cholesterol meds, if you're asking me like if there's a risk for you to have a heart attack, if you wake up tomorrow and stop taking the meds for the rest of your life, there's zero risk. And that's exactly what that doctor's communicating right there. Yes?
What are statins? Is that a medicine?
Statins is a cholesterol lowering medication. Does everybody know what a statin is? Okay, so it's a cholesterol lowering medication, exactly. Zocor, Prevacor, Mevacol, what are some of the other ones? Lipitor, yeah. Simvastatin, a lot of those. So you know the brand names. The brand name drugs get the doctors the highest kickbacks. The researchers say the hypothesis that statins protect the heart by lowering cholesterol is flawed, and that what? High cholesterol is what? Not linked to heart disease. They discovered patients taking cholesterol drugs were more likely to have calcium deposits in their arteries because it blocks the heart from making a necessary vitamin, vitamin K, to prevent the calcification. So when you're taking cholesterol medications, you know that it strips the CoQ10 out of the heart, and it also prevents your body from producing that vital vitamin K, which prevents calcifications. That's what the medications now they're showing. After all these years, they're finally coming to that conclusion, showing that. So his team says that, you know, many earlier studies were what? Industry sponsored. What is industry sponsored? Which industry? Drug industry, yeah. So when the drug industry sponsors it, what do you think the likelihood is that they're going to find a problem? Right? And if they can create the problem, then they're in the business of supplying the what? Solution. Exactly. You ever heard of the Zika virus? Well, if you haven't heard of it yet, it's going to be all over the news now. Zika virus has been around for 20 years. But the bigger the CDC and the pharmaceutical industry can make that problem, the faster they come to market with a what? Solution. That's right. You see, that's how the economy works. And for lack of knowledge, our people perish. But you guys have knowledge. That's why I want to make sure by the end of tonight, you'll know what's what. The Framingham study was the largest heart trial study that was ever done in the history of mankind. It involved nations from every continent in the world. It spanned over a decade, and then they did follow-up studies. And the research that came out was very conclusive as far as everything that I'm showing you tonight. But what the American Medical Association did and the diet industry did is they swept it under the rug for monetary reasons. So let me go through this with you. Cholesterol and cognitive performance. Do you know what cognitive performance is?
No.
It's how good your brain works. And when your cognitive performance starts to decline, you get things like dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, okay? So this is what they're finding as far as a correlation with people who are taking statin drugs or cholesterol medication. They looked at 789 men and 1,105 women who were part of the original Framingham group. All were free of dementia. None of them had brain problems or stroke at the beginning of the study, and they were followed for how long? 16 to 18 years, a pretty good period of time. The cognitive tests were performed every 4 to 6 years, so they followed up pretty closely, evaluating memory, learning, concept formation, concentration, attention, abstract reasoning, organizational abilities. These are all the features that are compromised with patients who have Alzheimer's and dementia. And here's what they found. The people who had the highest cholesterol levels scored the what? The highest on the cognitive test. The people who had the lowest cholesterol levels had the lowest scores. They had the worst brain function out of everyone. I've read some studies statistically that when you're on cholesterol medications, you're actually quadrupling your risk for Alzheimer's disease. New research reveals that statins may lessen brain function and increase the risk for heart disease. Why? Because cholesterol is a what? Critical brain nutrient. It's a brain nutrient. The neurons need it to fire, to function. Your brain needs that. So cholesterol in and of itself is not bad. It's good. It's a building block of the cell membranes. Actually, of every cell in your body, it needs cholesterol to repair and replace itself and function normally. That's why, when you're on statin medications, you've heard some of the side effects are what? Aches, pains, like your whole body aches, And that's really why, because every cell needs cholesterol because it's made up of cholesterol. Neurons in your brain rely on the delivery of what? Cholesterol from the bloodstream via a specific carrier protein known as LDL. Now, when you hear the word LDL, the first connotation that comes to mind is good or what? Bad, right? Yeah. So the LDL is bad. That's the one that's bad. But in and of itself, LDL is not bad. It's not even cholesterol. It's something that actually shuttles the cholesterol to the brain. So basically, there's absolutely nothing bad about LDL. And the role of it is to capture the cholesterol and transmit it to the what? The neuron, where it performs vitally important functions, guys. So when we're attacking the cholesterol, we're not correcting the cause of the problem. We're treating the effect. And there are dangerous side effects as a result of that because of an industry-supported and an industry-established standard. When they set up the cholesterol levels and they say, hey, you should be under 200 and above 160, guess who that benefits? If everybody has to squeeze into that narrow margin, who's going to be on medication? Everybody, yeah. So hopefully this is shining a little bit of light. So the LDL is a precursor to important brain-supporting elements, also like vitamin D. Do we need vitamin D?
Yes.
Yeah? That's critical for your immune system, guys. And that's why people who take cholesterol medications statistically show are twice as likely to get cancer. And steroid-related hormones like sex hormones such as testosterone and estrogen. So along with some of the side effects of cholesterol-lowering medications comes impotence. Yeah?
What about HGR or HGM, which they're now pushing on every television ad you can find, which is basically fits into what you're saying?
Pretty much fits in. It's all industry motivated. Yeah. So the thought process is, because are you asking me what else is good to bring the cholesterol down?
Well, not
So-
to bring the cholesterol down, but work on the things that you're discussing would get by having a higher cholesterol and getting rid of some of the other things.
So that it just depends on the individual, the drug, and what it's
Take
what.
a lot of HGR and not to become super brain, right?
Yeah, you know, it's all industry derived. That's the problem. And then you have a whole nother industry to treat the side effects, right? So you're taking the cholesterol medications lower the testosterone and the estrogen production, and then the libido goes down, and then before you know it, you're turning on the TV and you get done watching a cholesterol commercial for cholesterol drugs, and then the next commercial you see is the guy in his 50s in the convertible 57 Corvette with his girlfriend, and the question, got low T. And what do we got? Another drug commercial. So this is what it is, and you know what? We're brainwashed. We're just watching these commercials one after the other, and we really don't realize that this is the world that we live in. It's like there's a pill. We are a pill popping country. There's a pill for every ill, and if there's no ill, they'll create one to create a pill. So menopause. So women have menopause. Men have menopause. Okay, so that can easily be fixed, guys, easily. But what about cholesterol and coronary artery disease? Coronary artery disease has more to do with oxidized LDL. So the oxidation process is the issue. Yes.
I want to ask you a question. What's the difference between angiopause and menopause? Is it the same thing?
Angiopause
Yeah.
and menopause?
Uh-huh.
Angiopause has more to do with your heart. Yeah, menopause is something. They're two different things. Yeah, it's just a little bit different. So coronary artery disease has more to do with what? Oxidized. So what happens when the LDL oxidizes? It's like a rusting process, and that becomes hardening. And if that hardens in the arteries, then you've got a problem. Okay. So what causes the oxidation? Inflammation. And what causes inflammation? Sugar. Sugar, yeah. So that's why I was saying before that if you have a 300 or 400 level cholesterol and you're eating proteins, fruits, vegetables, you got a good diet, you're exercising, you have a really good lifestyle, you're taking anti-inflammatory supplements or nutrition, and your inflammatory markers are really low, then are you running the risk of oxidizing any LDL or having any oxidation process in your body? No. So that's why there's no issues. There's nothing to be concerned about if you've got this under control. Now, if you're a sugaraholic, that's a different story. So that's what we got to watch. All right, so remember, this has a lot to do with your immune system also. National Cancer Institute did a study, 12,488 men and women. They found the men with the lowest cholesterol levels were the most likely to get what? Cancer. Again, another industry-derived issue leading to another industry-derived solution. So you see cancer as a result, as a side effect of taking one drug, and then somebody gets cancer, and we're all about humanitarian efforts to raise money to fight the cause, and all those billions of dollars that they raise to fight the cause goes to what? Drug companies. To make what? More drugs to not prevent cancer but to treat the what? The effects of something else that was caused by another drug. Lancet, British Medical Journal. Researchers from the Netherlands studied 724 elderly individuals whose average age was 89 years. Followed them for 10 years. Imagine that. Yeah. In the Netherlands, so it makes sense. Each 39-point increase in total cholesterol, their cholesterol going up 39 points, corresponded to a 15% decrease in what? Mortality risk, their risk of death. In the study, there was absolutely no difference in the risk of dying from coronary artery disease between the high versus the low cholesterol groups. Doesn't matter where your cholesterol is. In fact, what the studies show is the higher your cholesterol, the longer you will live. So, authors reported mortality from cancer and infection was significantly lower among the participants in the what? Highest total cholesterol category than other categories. In fact, when you compare the lowest and highest cholesterol groups, the risk of dying during the study was reduced by 48% in those that had the what? Highest cholesterol. High cholesterol can extend your lifespan. That's it. You know, God doesn't make junk. Okay? The same power that created the universe made you and didn't abandon you. Stayed on board to govern, direct, harmonize, and control every function of every cell, organ, and tissue, including your cholesterol. Don't you think the wisdom that created the universe knows better where your cholesterol should be than a drug company? Hello, which do you trust? Okay, now, so you got man's wisdom, but then you've got godly wisdom. Okay? It's called universal intelligence. Who created the universe? God did. Whose intelligence is it? God's. So I would much rather trust his wisdom than man's wisdom. And it's interesting, it's only a matter of time till all of the conventional studies, turn over. And you see this. You're going to see it coming out on the news within the next year. And you're going to be like, man, Dr. Yachter was talking about that 5 years ago. Always happens, guys. I've been doing these workshops for 20 years. How many of you guys have been around long enough to see that happen?
Yeah.
Yep. Turn on the news, you're like, that's what Dr. Yachter was saying 5-10 years ago. It's not me. It's not rocket science. I'm nothing great. But I always measure whatever conventional research and wisdom says versus natural law. And natural law always trumps. So my doctor's concerned with my cholesterol level. A lady came in to me last week, and she says, what else can I take to get my cholesterol down? I'm like, where is it? Well, it's still about 260, 270. The doctor's concerned about it. I said, are you on cholesterol meds? She's like, no, I won't take it. And he's not pushing me. He's good. He's not pushing me. But he said, whatever you can do to get it down. She says, Dr. Yachter, what can I take? Red rice, brewer's yeast, or, do you have any supplements that can take my cholesterol down? What do you think the right response would be in a situation like that?
What do you eat?
What's that, Roy? It's great where it's at. Whoever said high cholesterol was bad? Whoever said high cholesterol was dangerous? Whoever said, show me the evidence, the research that high cholesterol is a danger, putting you at risk for a heart attack? Hello? Did we not just go over all that? All the medical journals. Do you see how entrenched we are in the brainwashing that has submerged us over the last several decades? And this has been on my heart tonight. I wanted to bring this to the surface because I know at least half of you in here are still anchored and chained and shackled to that mindset. You need to free yourself from that. I've given you everything here that you need to see to let that go. There is no research, there's no evidence that shows that your heart or your life is at risk if you have high cholesterol. Is everybody with me? Okay. So, even the Canadian Medical Association Journal, this was back, we're talking about 8 years ago. They were raising, even at that time, the American Heart Association started raising the ideal LDL level because they said the lower the LDL went, the higher the risk of cancer. So lots of people, they try to get their cholesterol down into the 70s, the 80s for the high-risk patient. Now they're saying it should be close to 130. Close to 130, and you take an HDL at 80 or 100, now you're talking about 230, 240, which is normal cholesterol, right? But again, even at that, I don't look for cholesterol tests. You come to me and you tell me your cholesterol is 280, 300. Am I concerned about that? I don't have a concern for that because I'm pretty much familiar with all the research that we just went over. And I want you guys to be comfortable with that as well. It'll extend your life, that's for sure. Beta blockers, Journal of the American College of Cardiology and Archives of Internal Medicine, they found taking calcium channel blockers causes a 26% increased risk of having a heart attack or heart failure. So if you know people on Cardizem, Procardia, Diazac, Norvasc, very common brain name drugs, that's the category it falls into. Calcium channel blockers also actually shrink the brain, pulling it away from the skull, which will lead to eventually dementia, Alzheimer's, affect your reflexes, your decision making, your emotional control, things like that. So there's no such thing as a medication without a side effect. And if you are on medications or you have family members, the question that you may want to ask yourself is, well, what are some things that we can do to start moving in the opposite direction? You don't just like abandon and burn the bridge. You start embracing a healthy lifestyle, start putting up the pillars that will support your body to give it what it needs while you can surrender that over time. Does that make sense? Okay. So, back to the core four. We just finished education. Let's talk about exercise. Both of these women are 74 years of age. 74 years of age. Both of them. It's a good picture, isn't it? So, there's only one question. How will you live your life? You like nobody wants this, everybody wants this. Now, I'm not expecting everybody to stand on stage in a bodybuilding contest, but I am saying that, we need to move. We need to exercise. Exercise shouldn't just come as something like after you've been diagnosed, like with a heart attack or cancer. It's something that we need to do. We live in a sedentary country where, you go to Italy and France and all these other places, they walk, they ride bikes. The United States is the only country where our bodies actually take on the shape of a couch. It's just that we spend so much time on there. We're so sedentary. That's where they get that couch potato thing from. So, I'm being serious. Honestly, if you weren't concerned about having good health and doing something good for yourself and getting better, raise your hand if you want to get better. Everybody wants to get better. You know what it is? It's just a matter of developing healthy habits. Bad habits are no different than good habits in the sense that they're habits, that you're on autopilot, you're slave to them. And you don't have to, think about not exercising, you just do it, right? You don't have to think about not brushing your teeth and get cavities, you just do it. But you develop good habits to prevent those problems, and after you do it for 20 or 30 days, you're so used to doing it, it becomes a what? A habit. So for me to not work out at this point in my life, I just feel odd. I don't feel right. I don't feel myself. I feel like something's missing. It's as odd to me as me not brushing my teeth. How many of you guys would feel kind of yucky if you didn't brush your teeth before you left the house? So no different for me in that category is, doing a brisk walk, getting on my bike. And I just like to do something every day. And I don't lift weights every day. I'll do that 3 days a week. I'll brisk walk. I don't exercise intensely every day. I like to shake it up. I like to keep it interesting. But I do like to move every day. Many of you know that I have a heart rate monitor, which tells me where my nervous system is, whether my body needs recovery, if it's fighting something, or if I'm overtraining. And every morning I wake up and I put that heart rate monitor on, and through an app, I get a meter reading of if I'm ready to train hard or I need recovery. And the days that it shows me I need recovery, I'll go for a brisk walk. And I listen to that. I've learned to listen to my body. And I'm really not good at listening to my body, so I listen to technology help me listen to my body. And you know what? Today was one of those days. I woke up, and it's like the last 2 days, it was pegged at a 10, perfectly balanced. I had 2 good hard weight workouts. Woke up today, and it was like 2. It was like flatlined. And it says, your body is in deep recovery. And I'm like, awesome. I get to do a brisk walk today. That's what it says. It says deep breathing or walking is recommended. And I love a brisk walk. When I get out there and brisk walk, I oxygenate. I suck oxygen in through my nostrils. I forcefully exhale to drive it down to the deep cellular level. No different than a hyperbaric oxygen chamber that they stick people in to fight cancer and different sicknesses and diseases. A brisk walk is energizing. It's so healthy for your body and your brain.
How long?
I go for 20 minutes. That's it.
They find me in the
And,
corner.
and you know what? If you're just starting out, do 5 minutes. And then the next time you do it, do 7 or 8 or 10 minutes. You know, the key is just to do something, right?
What's the name of the app?
The name of the app is, my brain is,
What?
the name of the app. I have it on my phone, just when I'm done. When I'm done, I'll get it for you. So at any rate, guys, listen, we're talking about Heart Smart. The bottom line is that you knock off 10 pounds, you're doubling your chances to normalize your blood pressure. And again, this is one of those things, if you're looking to reduce or get off meds, just think of a brisk walk as your daily dose of medication alternative. You can look at it that way. Same thing with your blood sugar. You know, this all works together. Find it and just do it often enough to where it's a good habit. And, you know, if you're afraid of getting up too early, losing 20 minutes of sleep, believe me when I tell you, the day that you do that and you exercise, you will have more energy and you'll sleep better that night than you ever have. It's counterintuitive, but you've just got to trust me and you've got to adopt and adapt to that lifestyle, and it pays huge dividends, huge rewards. Just like the ladies we saw here, you're working towards this. And then when you're 74 or 84 or 94 years old and all your friends are in wheelchairs and they've got broken hips and they're on 12 medications, you could be on stage doing a bodybuilding contest. Or you could be walking around with your family at Disney World at 90 years old. Or maybe even doing a marathon with them. Maybe you're brisk walking and they're running. I don't know about you, but that's what I want to do. You know, I want to go out with my flame still burning bright. Not like I see people in an assisted nursing facility today because they don't know what hit them. They didn't prepare for that, and then the bottom dropped out. And before you know it, they don't know what's going on. The doctors don't have answers, and then you're in hospice. Raise your hand if you'd like to avoid that. Not going to happen to me. Turn to your neighbor, say, it's not going to happen to me. Right? Right? Now, so what that means is that it means faith without action is what? Dead. You got to back up your faith. That's faith right there. She had a vision for her life. And where there's a lack of vision, people what? Have a vision, lock in on it, and then execute. That's all we're talking about. Just execute. It doesn't matter what you like to do, just do something. You don't have to kill yourself. It doesn't have to be intensive. Just do something and you work up to it. All right, Circle of Champions.
I have a
Circle of
question.
Champions. Come on up, ladies.
Instead of like
Deborah, what's that?
walking, exercise in the pool.
Yeah. Exercise in the pool, you can do that. I know you're really good at that. You do a lot of that. Silver sneakers.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but also we have a pool, so, you know, we can exercise.
But I'm the only one that uses it. Much younger girl, I'm 85, was 85 this summer.
Yeah.
And I married a much younger girl. She wasn't 85 until November.
There you go. That's there you go. Secrets of the trade. Marry younger. Thank you for that. That was worth the price of admission right there. All right, so we want to recognize a couple of patients who have put their best foot forward here, and we really love and appreciate you guys for keeping up with your adjusting schedule, doing your home care, keeping your end of the responsibility, because when you sign up for care here, the most important thing, believe it or not just for you, but for us, is to see your results on the x-rays, your life transforming. You know, that's what we show up for. This is not a job for us. This is a mission. This is our family. This is where we love to be and what we love to do. And so we love to see people, you know, grow in this process. So we just want to recognize a few friendly faces here for you guys. And these are for folks who've never, ever missed an appointment. Always up, smile, ready to rock and roll. And we love and appreciate you guys. So when I call your name, stand up, and we're going to come around and crown you with a Medal of Honor. Joanne Fort, Joey Caraccioli, and Drew Connor. Give them a big round of applause. All right, so we got one for Joey coming around there. Okay, good. And also we have an award for 6 or more workshops. So Deborah gets to do her Vanna White impression. That's our university, Elevation Health University Core 4 degree for Lorna Welsh. Everybody give her a big round of applause. Lorna? Yeah. She's our workshop queen. All right, so we've got a few more things we got to go through, and I'd just like to take a mental break just to get the blood flowing just for 2 minutes. If you guys would be kind enough to stand up, turn to face your neighbor on the right, and put your hands on their shoulders, and squeeze. We're going to do a massage. We're going to squeeze the shoulders. Squeeze that shoulders. Squeeze the shoulders. Get that stress out. Good. Get that blood going. Get that stress out. All right. Karate chop. Karate chiropractic. Good. Awesome. Doing a great job. All right. Turn around and love your other neighbor. Get that stress out.
You gotta do it a little harder.
Good job. All right, karate chop. Karate chiropractic. Don't hurt your neighbor, love them. All right, good job, guys. Thank you. All right, we got some love coming your way. Heads up. Heads up. Heads up. Whee! Nice. Okay. The show goes on. The show goes on. Let's talk a little bit about nutrition. So here's a little cartoon that will summarize basically what we're about to go into. And this medical doctor says to his patient, the high-carb diet I put you on 20 years ago gave you diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease. Oops. Because what have we been recommended all these years to have a low-fat diet, right? And the low-fat diet, eating foods that are low cholesterol, it turns out did not prevent heart disease, it caused heart disease. And you're going to find out why and what you should do instead. We talked about bad cholesterol. Just to hit on this in a slightly different way, oxidized cholesterol is the key factor in the development of atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries. So we need to do everything we can to reduce that risk and reduce the risk of the higher levels of glucose. What pushes your glucose levels high? Sugar. Carbs, exactly. And what would have carbs in it? Well, pretty much all the above. Just about everything that you're going to get wherever you go. Okay, so let's not focus on this because like that's everybody knows that. But when you look at something like orange juice, and the first impression that we get is that of being healthy, I want you to look at the label of orange juice because where it says total carbohydrates, 33 grams of sugar, what is the actual amount of sugar that you're getting there? 30 grams. So when you're looking at a label to see how much sugar is in the product, you could come up with these carbohydrates, but then you're going to look down here and see how much of the total carbohydrates is actual sugars. And you will be astounded. You will be astounded. You should do that with everything that you have in your pantry, everything that you serve yourself and your family, because at that point it really doesn't matter if it's this or this. It's having the same effect on your glucose. It's going up. Bad sugar, good sugar, all has the same effect. It all makes glucose what? Go up. And when that happens, what happens to LDL? It oxidizes. And when that happens, what happens to your arteries? They harden. And when that happens, what are you at risk for? Heart attack. Okay? So sugar equals heart attack. Everybody got that? So it doesn't matter if it's good sugar or bad sugar. We have to watch all of the sugars. This turns into sugar. This turns into sugar. This turns into sugar. Sugar is laced in all of these things no matter how healthy the label looks or the cover of the box looks. You know, the Nutri-Grain, perfect example. Look at a Nutri-Grain bar. healthy, grains, right? We've been brainwashed to believe that grains are healthy, when in fact, grains drive inflammation. You know, grains in and of themselves, decades or really centuries ago, really had more benefit. Today, they're so refined that there's nothing left of nutritional value. And it drives sugar no different than this and this. So that's what we have to take inventory of to really control your cholesterol and prevent a heart attack. And if you come to me and you have a 300 level cholesterol and you virtually have none of this in your diet, in your lifestyle, I am not concerned. Does that make sense? Okay. So, and it's could be a gradual process for many of us. You know, you know that anything is white, that's white, refined, flour enriched, that's going to drive glucose the fastest. That's going to upset your blood sugar the fastest. Aside of causing inflammation, it causes fat storage. So we know that there's zero nutritional benefit in anything that's white, flour enriched like that. Now, there are transitional alternatives. So if this is the ugly, we've got the bad and then the better. And then that would mean, like, instead of white pasta, whole wheat pasta. What's better than that? Maybe vegetable based, right? Now, I used to eat this a lot until I really did my research in it, and if you look at the nutritional label on it, you'll see that it still has flour in it. It still has flour. So all of this, even though it's vegetable based, when you read the nutritional profile, you'll see there's still grain, there's still flour in it. So you're not 100% free of that. So what I do is whenever I have like a meat sauce, and instead of the pasta, I'll have cauliflower. We bake it in the oven. We put olive oil on it, and we brown it just a little bit. We make the cauliflower, the head of cauliflower in the oven, and then I dump the meat sauce on top of that. And I have that as a pasta alternative. You can do that with broccoli. You can do that with your favorite vegetable. And when you have that with meat sauce, and it's, you know, if it's sauce that's not really out of a jar, but maybe you make it a homemade sauce, it's lower in sugar, that will not have an effect on your blood sugar.
You can have the edamame pasta.
Edamame pasta, yes. And then so the same thing would be true of rice. You know, brown rice is better than white rice. And the same thing with breads. So for some of us, it's like you can't fathom giving up your grains, but maybe you can have some better stuff than the worst stuff, reasonably speaking. Obviously, the best case scenario is not to have any of this stuff. Maybe once a week, you know, you can have a cheat day. That's what I do. But for the most part, if you want to maintain your health and your weight, super easy. You don't really consider this in any of your meals during the week.
What's that last pasta you had with the corn? What's that?
This right here, this is tomato basil. Yeah, tomato basil, all vegetable based. Yep. All right, cardiologist, neurologist, rethinking the illness. This was David Perlmutter, neurologist. He said, unbridled what? Inflammation is rampant in Western cultures, and that's what's led to coronary artery disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and every other chronic disease. One cause, one cure. All you have to do is reduce the sugars, and you can reverse a lot of these degenerative diseases. The injury and inflammation in our blood vessels is caused by a what? Low-fat diet. Yeah. So we've got to get back to eating a high-fat diet, which means your diet really should be a good 70% of fats, and good fats. You know, I'm not talking about Crisco or vegetable oil. I'm talking about olive oil and coconut oil and avocados, almonds, grass-fed meat, grass-fed beef, grass-fed butter. All these things are the good fats that your brain needs. And you know what? When your brain and your cells get the fat that they need, then maybe your body doesn't make all that extra cholesterol, and your cholesterol comes down because your body's giving itself the fat that it needs to repair and regenerate itself. Does that not make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to watch this real quick, this clip on inflammation.
Inflammation is more common than you would think. It can cause stroke, heart attack, and even cancer. It starts as a slow burn inside of your body, and it acts like an emergency, responding to infection and injury. The tender, throbbing hotspots that may feel uncomfortable are actually part of your body's natural response. It means your immune system is sending the internal signal to launch white blood cells and protein to destroy infection and heal injuries. But if the inflammation lingers after the job is done, or your immune system becomes confused and misfires by accident, what was once your best friend can quickly become your worst enemy. When inflammation becomes chronic, your body's natural defense system takes a turn for the worse by starting a sneak attack on your joints, tissue, and blood vessels, wreaking havoc on all of those areas that were once pain-free. That's when the slow-burning throb becomes a 5-alarm fire. For years, researchers have found that chronic inflammation can be linked to rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and asthma. But the newest and most modern research shows a lot more. Chronic inflammation can very well be at the heart of the life-threatening diseases that we all fear the most. Cancer, heart attack, diabetes, and even Alzheimer's. Is chronic inflammation eating away at your body?
That's it right there. So you've got it. What is it that we need to work on? The inflammation. Yeah. And it's all lifestyle. Doesn't matter if heart disease or cancer runs in your family. Your lifestyle trumps 95% of your genetic predisposition. So lifestyle determines the expression of genes. And so if you embrace all of the recommendations that we have here, nutritionally and otherwise, then you're being proactive with this. So when you have heart vessels, blood vessels in the heart that inflame and clog up, that's when you get a what? Heart attack, exactly. Now, is it possible to be on cholesterol medication and blood pressure medication and still have this going on? Absolutely. If you have high levels of inflammation. Any nurse will tell you that. You know, the ERs, the ICUs are chock full of people who just had heart incidents, and they are on those medications 70% of the time. They don't prevent heart attacks. We have to get to the cause of it, which is inflammation. What causes inflammation? Sugar and bad fats. So sugar we got to reduce, the bad fats. Cottonseed oil, you got to be really careful with this, with the foods that you buy, and also when you go out to eat. Because when they fry stuff and they cook foods, what type of oil do they usually use? Vegetable oil, which is hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated. And that's a trans fat, and it's toxic, and it triggers inflammation. Okay? So you would be well-to-do to be careful and avoid that and order foods that are specifically made with olive oil. Even if you ask the waiter or waitress to bring you olive oil, ask them, is it olive oil? Are you sure? Or is it canola oil? Is it soybean oil? Is it vegetable oil? I've asked for olive oil, and I'll see it come out, and it's white. It looks like corn. Sure enough, it's vegetable oil. The waiter, they don't care. They're just doing their job. But meanwhile, you're putting a trans fat in your body. You're trying to put olive oil on your salad and do something healthy, and really you just created the opposite effect. So when you're intentional about these things, you always get a much better outcome. Cottonseed oil, soybean oil. Don't be fooled. When you see this on a label, that causes inflammation, guys. Canola oil. Ooh, I thought canola oil was healthy. No, it's a trans fat, guys. Vegetable oil. Anything that says vegetable oil, or basically anything other than olive oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil, you can pretty much guess that it's a trans fat. The only other safe thing may be walnut oil. Okay, walnut oil has a little bit of omega-6, which triggers inflammation, but it's got omega-3 also. And the omega-3 is what quells the inflammation. That's why olive oil is anti-inflammatory, why it's so good for your heart. How many of you guys have heard of the Mediterranean diet? Yeah. Diet high in olive oil. These people have the least incidence of heart disease and cancer.
What about grapeseed oil?
Grapeseed oil is okay. It is. It's not as bad as many of these vegetable oils. But if you want to have the greatest anti-inflammatory effect, it's these oils right here. Olive oil, avocado oil, and coconut oil. And almonds. Remember, not all nuts are created equal. If you're having stuff like peanuts, highly inflammatory. Okay? Pistachios, cashews, much more inflammatory than almonds. Almonds, are anti-inflammatory, and a lot of these other nuts are high in omega-6, which triggers inflammation.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yep. So fatty fish, Pacific, like fish oil, stuff like that. That's all good stuff. You want to have your diet very, very high in this stuff. You want to, at every meal, you want to have some of these good fats accompanying that meal. Yes?
What about macadamia nuts?
Macadamia nuts, they're really good, really fatty. They do have some benefits, but they're higher in that omega-6, which is more inflammatory. Doesn't mean that you can't ever have them. You want to have one here and there, that's cool. But for the most part, if you're going to snack on stuff on a daily basis, if you can do the almonds, that's your best bang for the buck to put this to work. And generally speaking, we know the paleo diet is very, very well aligned for the most part with what you've learned in the Nutrimos program and what I teach in this office, which is proteins, fruits, and vegetables. What's not in the paleo diet, you'll notice, is dairy, milk, cheese. I can kind of go either way on this. Every once in a while, if you want to have some cheese, if it's raw, that's fine, but not too much because it's highly acidic. And your body should be mostly alkaline. That's why I agree with this. And whenever I have beans, my stomach goes berserk. So, I wholeheartedly embrace everything that you see here. The less, the better. You go with stuff like this, the nuts, the wild meats. This is obviously grass-fed, not grain-fed. Fish, fruit, vegetables. Again, it's proteins, fruits, and vegetables. That's how you should be eating for the rest of your life. You really should. And again, not to say that you can't have a party day here and there. I'm not saying that. Dr. Yachter does that too. But for the most part, this is how I eat, for most of the week. Okay, so one of the things that I always want to make sure that you have an opportunity to do, if you're not doing it, try this. Not only is it economically easy, affordable, and makes sense, but you get, energy-wise, you get the best bang for the buck. When you can wake up in the morning and you have a good amount of protein, you have a good amount of fat, and you have your fruit, you're off to a really good start. You need good fats in every meal. And every day I start my day off with this. I don't sit down and make a big breakfast with oatmeal and this and that. I work out. I have a couple of scoops of this. I have a couple of scoops of almond butter. I put this in, I mix it with coconut milk. You can mix it with almond milk and berries. And that right there is super low in sugar, super high in protein, super high in fat. And it keeps your energy level stable, and it keeps you going for a good few hours in terms of energy. You're not hungry. And again, it's quick, and it's the best thing for your blood sugar and keeping inflammation levels at bay. Yeah.
Does the coconut milk have to be organic?
That's the best, yeah, if you can. You got to be careful with like Silk and some of these other cardboard, filled containers. They're sweetened. They have all types of. The best coconut milk to use is really in the can.
What kind?
Thai is one brand. Yeah, Thai. And don't put the whole thing in there because it's really thick. Yeah, you'll get nauseous if you have too much of that.
Shake it really well.
Shake, yeah, make sure you shake it really well too. I mean, I'll just put a little bit and I'll mix it with water. Otherwise, you'll get too filled up. Well, that would be a smoothie. Yeah, but the thing with this is that it's a complete multivitamin also. So you don't need to take multivitamins on top of it. It's got everything in it. And every single day I do that like clockwork. So I'd recommend that you try it if you haven't yet. And you can make vegetable smoothies also. You can have it for lunch, breakfast, lunch. It all works. So finishing up here, Dr. George Mann was one of the researchers with the Framingham Heart Study. And what his original research showed was that the whole diet heart hypothesis that showed that the foods that you eat that are high in fat or saturated fat and high in cholesterol actually caused a fatty heart, heart disease, and high cholesterol, it was all junk science. There was never any correlation with that. So remember all the times that you were told to eat foods that are low in cholesterol to keep your cholesterol down? No correlation with that at all. And this was the original research which they swept under the rug. And it's coming back now. You're going to see more and more of this on the news. These were two researchers from Harvard and University of Massachusetts that are starting to bring this stuff back and expose it. Studied 21 previous medical reports involving 340,000 subjects followed from periods of 5 to 23 years. They concluded that intake of saturated fat was not associated with an increased risk of heart disease, stroke, or cardiovascular disease. Completely black and white, right? I mean, it's right there, the opposite of what we've been taught. In comparing the lowest to the highest consumption of saturated fat, the actual risk for coronary heart disease was 19% lower in the group that consumed the what? So they actually found a correlation. The more saturated fat they ate, the lower the risk of what? Heart disease. Analyzing data, this guy analyzed the data from the Framingham Heart Study, found that the more saturated fat the people ate, the lower their what? Their cholesterol was. Isn't that amazing? It's the complete opposite of what the cardiologists and our doctors have always told us. So what does that mean? It's party time. You get to eat all the stuff that we like to eat. That's right. T-bone, baby. T-bone. Let me tell you what's good about a T-bone. The principal fat in red meat and eggs and bacon is not saturated fat. There is some, but that's not the principal fat. The main fat in there is monounsaturated fat, which is the same as extra virgin olive oil. How healthy is that for your heart? So you're telling me that eggs and steak and meat and bacon is actually good for your heart? You heard it. That's right.
Really?
Yeah. Steak. 51% of the fat is what? Monounsaturated. 51% of that has the same makeup as olive oil. Okay? Same thing with bacon, guys. Super high in saturated fat. Again, you're still trying to process this. What do you mean? How does bacon not good for you? How does bacon not give me a heart attack? Well, we just showed you the research that says there's no correlation. In fact, the studies show the more bacon, eggs, and red meat that the people ate in the study, the what?
Really?
The lower their cholesterol was. That's right. So that's why I said party time, guys. So, okay. I'm not saying you want to go live on that stuff, but I'm saying you can eat it guilt-free. Is that more reasonable? Ribeye, baby. Yeah, that's right. Now, when we're talking about meat, guys, listen. Let's get real here for a second. There is a difference. You got grass-fed and you have grain-fed. If you're eating grain-fed meat, and applying it to what we're talking about, grain drives inflammation. Any grain-fed meats that you're eating, if it's not grass-fed, it's causing inflammation in your body, and that does put you at more risk for heart disease. So if you are going to enjoy your bacon or your T-bone or your ground beef, make sure that it's what? Grass-fed, yeah. And then you will get the benefits without the risk. Yeah.
But the stores don't advertise it that way when they put on hamburger.
You can find it Greenwise, and when you go to Publix or Winn-Dixie, you can find grass-fed. You'll just look for it. Ask the butcher if you need help. They'll point it out to you. Yeah. So let me go over 3 quick things with you. Q-Best, again, this is for your heart. It's a necessary molecule for heart function and energy production in all the cells. Especially if you're on cholesterol-lowering medications, you need this because cholesterol meds strip the CoQ10 from the heart. So it's vitally important that we take Q-Best. And again, this is just not just for heart function, it's for overall cellular function and energy. It's a major building block. And most of the CoQ10 that's out there it comes in a crystal form or a powder form. This is completely different. These are gel liquid type, and it has the maximum absorbability, so you get the maximum benefit from it. It's 3 times better absorbed than the crystal or the dry powder form, which is what most of it comes in from other places.
I have a question.
Mhm.
What's about public oil?
Well, let's do this. I'm going to answer your question, but for time's sake,
Oh, okay, all right.
I need to try to get finished here in the next 5 minutes. So when we're done, I'm going to have you come up. Anybody else with questions, just come up, and this way we'll finish up. So the Perfusia is another supplement which is good for your heart because Perfusia has something called L-arginine. L-arginine is a precursor which causes vasodilation, which means it opens the arteries and it increases blood flow. And that's not only healthy for your heart, but it's good for your libido, it's good for your energy, it's good for everything, overall circulation. So this is definitely a heart health supported supplement. applicable to what we're talking about tonight. And then the last one is the Super EPA fish oil capsules. This does not have that fishy taste, you know, like if you burp it up. It's super clean, super absorbable, and you have to understand something about the fish oil capsules. Not only is it anti-inflammatory, it's anti-cancer. It helps to stabilize your blood sugar. It helps with your cholesterol because, again, if you're giving your body those good healthy fats like this, then maybe your body doesn't need to make so much cholesterol, and your cholesterol levels will settle out where they should be. So that's why we encourage this. You can never get enough good oils. I take a couple of these every day. Not a day that goes by that I don't make sure that I'm on track with these supplements, this in particular right here. Not only good for heart health, but every aspect of your health. This is, you know, definitely a prerequisite for that. So those three are part of your Thorne supplement suite. We put them together because when you take them together, they work synergistically to give you an amplified, supported, heart-healthy effect. And so 20% off when you get all three of those tonight. The only time we ever discount supplements is at the workshops, just to incentivize you guys and allow you to make application with what you've learned. But when you buy the suite, you get the maximum discount. Outside of the suite, anything else on the shelf is 10% off. So before you leave tonight, you can do that. There are limited supplies, so we only have a handful, you know, of sets for, you know, for you guys here tonight. Would you agree you learned something important tonight, life-changing tonight? Yes or yes? Good, good, good. So what I would ask is this. Not only, I'm not done. Where's everybody going? Don't worry, we'll finish in a minute. If you want to get more of a discount, there's a way to do that. We can give you a gift certificate for 25% off also. But what people read today is reviews. And if you'd be kind enough to go online, one of your handouts shows you how to go online and go to RateMDs and put a good review on there for us, a 5-star review. And that helps us help other people. People come here when they see good reviews. And so we just ask that if you'd be kind enough to do that, we'll be happy to give you an additional discount. And when you do that, just show them that you've done it, and we can do that for you. All right, last thing before you go, I want to show you something new here, which is pretty neat. The subluxation is when the bones in your spine shift out of alignment. This bone in particular, called the atlas bone, sits right under your skull. It's a ring of bone, and through there goes the brainstem. The brainstem turns into the spinal cord, which goes down your entire spine. That top bone right there has holes on either side. You see those holes? You know what goes through those holes? An artery. It's called the vertebrobasal artery, and it brings blood supply to your brain. Now, this bone is unlike any other bone in your spine in that there's no disc above or below. It's only held together by ligaments. And being that your head weighs as much as a bowling ball, what do you think happens when you get whipped around? Guess what takes the brunt of the action? You guys saw what happened with Jim McMahon and a lot of these football players who wind up killing themselves because of the cranial injury. Well, what happens is the atlas gets so jammed up, the artery gets kinked up, it blocks the cerebrospinal fluid from flowing, gets dammed up back in the brain, and they start going insane. But another thing that happens is the artery gets kinked. And when the artery gets kinked, going to the top area there and the blood supply to your brain, it causes high blood pressure. Now they did a study, and again, this is going with heart health tonight. They did a study at the University of Chicago Medical Center, and they found that one adjustment lowers the blood pressure better than 2 blood pressure medications combined. And this was a medical study. They said that the procedure had the effect of not 1 but 2 blood pressure meds. The study leader was a medical doctor who said we saw no what? No side effects, no problems. So I'll tell you this, if you're on blood pressure medication, you can eat good, you can exercise, and you can do all these things which are a good idea, which may be causative factors for high blood pressure. But if you've got this jamming into your brainstem, and you have a mechanical problem, tell me what supplement or what exercise regimen will correct this mechanical problem. None of them. None of them. The only thing is a chiropractic adjustment. So when we look at someone's spine, we look at it like a circuit breaker. The nerves branch off and they go to every part of the body. And if the nerves are pinched because the vertebrae in your back are out of alignment, it can create virtually any health problem known to mankind. Circulation problems, impotence, irregular periods, cramps, constipation, skin problems, kidney problems, stomach problems, diabetes, bronchitis, heart problems. You name it, it can be caused by a pinched nerve in your back. The problem is with the pinched nerve is most of these nerves are not pain sensitive, and the only way you'll feel it in the beginning is if you have an injury or a trauma. Most subluxations shut down nerve supply painlessly like a kink in a garden hose. And over time, you build up problems like cancer or a cavity. That's why people should really be having their spine checked all throughout their lifetime, not waiting for the bottom to drop out so you fall into crisis, right? So, other than that, the best way to use chiropractic care, how many of you guys know people, or maybe you came in yourself because you were in pain? That's okay, I still love you. it's all right. Listen, it works for that also. But you know what? The best part of chiropractic care isn't getting you out of pain. It's getting to your God-given best. How many of you watched the Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago, right? How many of those guys do you think got adjusted before the game? All of them. I guarantee you. All of them. I want you to watch this.
Hi, I'm tight end Vernon Davis. I've been doing chiropractic work for a total of 6 years. It helps me to get out in the field and perform at my very best.
Patrick Willis, linebacker. I've been getting adjusted about 4 years now. Playing this game, man, is it's a rough sport, man. Chiropractic care really helps my body get back into shape.
Mario Manningham, Alden Smith, Justin Smith, San Francisco 49ers.
Deshaun Dawson, safety for the San Francisco 49ers.
Ted Ginn Jr.
Dante Whitner, strong safety for the San Francisco 49ers. We get adjusted by Dr. Jody Serra for a little bit over a year now. It really gets me to my peak performance and to where I'm out there on the football field with no aches and pains.
Ronnie Brown, running back, San Diego Chargers.
My name is Taquito Spikes. Chiropractic care is important for anybody, not only athletes, but if you're active. It's relief for me to be able to stay balanced. Chiropractic is very big for me. That's why at home, I see Dr. Nick Athens, my man, and on the road, when I'm on the East Coast, I see my man, Dr. Jody. This is my 15th year, and I can tell you this is the only way that I've been able to make it, by putting the chiropractic care into my regimen throughout the week.
The better I feel, the better I play.
My words to you and my advice, make sure you see a chiropractor.
That's pretty neat, huh? That's awesome. So, it's really simple, guys. It doesn't matter if you have ache or pain. If you want to be at your best, you make sure you have a clear nervous system. Remember I said earlier the power that made your body also created the living universe, right? God made your body. God heals your body. There is a spirit, there is an innate spirit inside of you. And the point that connects that spirit to your physical person is your nervous system. And so when we make that connection with an adjustment, it connects the physical part of you to the spiritual part of you. It elevates every aspect of your humanity. And so who walking this planet deserves to have that in their life and be at their best? Everybody, exactly. So the question is, who in your family has not been checked? Which one of your friends, family members have not been checked? And the question is why? Because they haven't had a car accident? Or because maybe they don't have a neck pain? Or because of whatever the reason is? Do you know anybody who doesn't want to get better, who doesn't want to be better? Yeah, everybody wants to be better, right? Everybody wants to be better. So why would they not want to have a better, healthier nervous system? They just don't know. That's why we ask you to bring them here so that we can meet them and explain it to them. Now, if any of you here are guests and you've never had your spine checked, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that. And basically what we do is we use the thermography to do that. And the thermography will help us pinpoint exactly where your spine may be malfunctioning. And that's what a normal nerve scan looks like. And again, it'll show us what's right or what's wrong, where you're hurting. Even if you're not hurting, it'll show us what's going on. and we do a complete evaluation for you. So if that's something that you'd like to do, see my team on the way out. They'll give you a coupon to have it done at a discounted rate for that first time. And we're happy to do that for you. Anybody else has any questions about any of that, just let me know. And last but not least, make sure you guys stop and get everything you need on the way out. Remember, like I said, we have limited supplies. Dial in for next month's workshop. Come up to me if you have any questions. Thanks for coming tonight, guys. I love and appreciate you. God bless.